Hey, it's Sam from K102. Today, I've got Matt Mithun from WeFest, the owner and producer of WeFest. In fact, hey, Matt, how's it going?
Good, Sam. It's good to be here.
It's so good to see you. WeFest this year was amazing, and I'm so excited because I think maybe today we'll be able to talk a little bit about WeFest 2026.
Yeah, if you'd like.
Yes. Oh, for sure. We're definitely going to. So, Matt, there's so many things that go into putting WeFest together. So, tell me, is booking the lineup each year your favorite part of the job? Because that's got to be really exciting to see things come together.
Yeah, good question. It's definitely one of my favorites. So I'd say booking is a ton of fun, and that's where it all begins. The site improvements I love. So every year, for the last handful of years especially, we've been working on a lot of site improvements, which are fun. And then I'd say every year when the band comes back together. So there's a lot of people that are there year round on site, but also a lot that come the weeks leading up to the festival, and it's kind of a family reunion every year. It's
Yeah,
just a good feeling seeing people arrive again for the festival.
I definitely feel that every time that I'm there at WeFest, everyone knows everyone. The team is amazing, and you really do kind of feel like you're just walking into a big party where we're all friends and we're all just having a good time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And every single year, like you said, the site improvements where you have WeFest, it just gets better and better. You guys are always adding really, really cool things and different features and upgrades that people can do, which is super cool.
Yeah, it is. We're lucky because we own the land as well. And so it used to be a dude ranch. So, 45 years ago, it was an old dude ranch. And
Yep.
then, WeFest originally started in 83. But a lot of these buildings have been there since it was a dude ranch. And so, for instance, this year we repurposed what was called the Trading Post and made it the Neon Saloon, where we had another stage. So we've kind of got five stages, four and a half, because the one in the Neon Saloon is this karaoke stage where we had this competition going all weekend, and people loved it. It's like a place to grab some shade, go in, during the afternoon. But it's nice because we can have a very, very long-term view.
So we're here to talk about the process, of course, and I know that at least for me, I know that I want to know, and I know that everybody else wants to hear more about the 2026 lineup and more, what we don't already know about it. But first, let's talk about that 2025 lineup. That was so much fun. You guys had just an incredible lineup this year, and you had some acts that really came on strong the months leading up to the show. But I guess that's got to be part of the strategy too, right?
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. And so, the a lot of the headline acts they've been here for a while and we know them, and they're amazing. It's really fun picking some of the younger upcoming acts. And they're not always younger. I mean, look at Stephen Wilson Jr. last year, and you probably know his story, but he was a food scientist, right, for years, and then just had been writing music. His father passed away, and he wrote this incredible tribute to his dad, this album,
Mhm.
and he's just amazing. And he's, I think, in his mid 30s. But this year, yeah, we had some fun. I so Gavin Adcock was a super
Yeah.
fun party. Treaty Oak
Yeah.
Revival, if hopefully you got out
Yeah.
for that, was super fun. Obviously Megan Maroney, I mean, she just kind of caught fire this year, and so yeah, it is part of the strategy. That's part of the fun.
Yeah. How does that process start every year when it comes to trying to figure out who is going to be a good fit for the next lineup? Because you do an excellent job of picking people who seem to, because these have to be booked way in advance, but you pick people like Megan Maroney, who did have an amazing year this year. It's like you looked into the future and just knew that she would be an amazing act. And then Gavin Adcock too, and just so many great acts. So what is that process like? How does that start every year when you're trying to decide who's going to be at WeFest?
Well, it starts with the budget. So I'm also the finance
Yeah.
guy, and so I know what we can spend and kind of what we're looking at, and we are
Mhm.
growing that budget year after year, and meaningfully actually, this year for 2026. So it starts there, and then it's the headliners. So you work your way out. You start about 18 months out, and you work usually headliners down. Sometimes I'll try to if things are taking a long time, kind of that direct support or kind of the 6 o'clock act. I'll start working on some of the other acts, just so we're ready. I mean, it's a long process. I'm always amazed how long kind of the second half takes. But yeah, you just start, country books early. So you start way out and you just kind of make your way down, making sure everything's complementing each other within a certain day, but also across the whole lineup. And you're also dealing with some personalities that, usually everyone really likes each other, but sometimes acts don't. And so you kind of have to work on that throughout the day. It's fun.
It's so interesting because I think there's so much that goes into it that people don't even realize. Like you said, needing to book most of these acts a year and a half in advance. I don't think people realize that is what has to happen.
Yeah.
When it comes to this strategy around booking people, is there anything that you feel that you're trying to change up compared to how WeFest has done in the past? And on top of that too, I mean, how do you stay current with everything and just know who to book?
Yeah. Well, my kids help and my nieces and nephews, on social media all the time. And I listen to country all the time now. I probably drive people crazy. And so, the momentum, you kind of want to see, all the data out there. And so not just box office figures, which are important, especially when you're talking about headline acts, or prime country acts that have been playing for a long time. But you're also just betting on the come, right? Like you're just looking at that momentum and thinking, okay, where are they going to be in 12 months, 14 months, whenever it is that you're booking them. So that's a big piece of it. And it's become less formulaic, I'd say, kind of across the board, not just us, but probably all festivals where, I think there used to be a rotation every 4 or 5 years. You kind of have those headliners repeat potentially. And we're every year just kind of starting from scratch, and just trying to get as creative as possible.
Well, and I love that you pointed that out because for WeFest, something that I've really noticed is you do a great job finding these artists that are, especially the younger artists that you find that are really, really starting to blow up and I think have so much potential. Like Avery Anna, she's so popular on TikTok and you had such a young crowd there this year that was so excited specifically to see her, and Gavin Adcock and Treaty Oak Revival. These are acts that you don't necessarily see at a lot of festivals around in our region anyway, but you have them. And I saw so many people that were so excited because it's smart. They have millions of followers on TikTok. They have an incredible following, but they're younger acts. So I think people don't necessarily think of them right away, but you guys did. And so hats off to you for figuring that out.
Yeah. Well, and they're so good, right? Like,
yes,
it gives you a little glimpse of how hard it is to be a musician, a traveling musician, because they are so good. But how do you really, really get noticed? And thankfully a lot do. But that's a good example.
Yes.
I mean, Avery Anna, she's incredible, like just incredible. And I don't know, I loved going up to our Trading Post stage. So that was a new stage this year. And you could just see the people because she had played earlier in the day, opening the main stage. And then we were able to figure it out where she got to play later that evening, which was kind of a whole nother crowd. And they just loved her.
Yeah. She's amazing. Yeah. She really is. And to be able to give that kind of experience to everyone, it was just really cool. I mean, I'm always impressed, but it was just so neat. And I loved her too.
Yeah.
Have you always been a country fan? Have you always listened to country music? So it just kind of makes all this second nature to you?
I'm going to have a lot of haters out there now, but I didn't actually grow up on country. I just love music. And I even tried to play very poorly.
Really?
But, yeah, the drums. Yeah. I was not good. But I just love music. But I actually, and I listened to a lot of kind of older, like Willie and Waylon and Johnny Cash, Merle. But I wasn't listening to a lot of popular country, modern country growing up. But now I love it. And I'd say it was country and metal. Those were like the two that just weren't on my radar as much growing up, it's funny because I'm also involved with a venue in Wisconsin, Somerset Amphitheater. And for years, that was a lot of what we produced out there was metal. And I, like, going into it, I was on high alert, just like, okay, Slipknot, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
But it was fun. Like, as long as they're good musicians and really good at their instruments, which, like I listened to Tool growing up, and a lot of Led Zeppelin, although you wouldn't call that metal. But the first time I started being involved in metal shows, I was like, oh my goodness, they are so good at their instruments. And so it's just that kind of appreciation throughout genres. But so no, I didn't grow up on it, but I listen to it nonstop now.
Do you love metal just as much as you love country now? Or are they kind of like equal?
I've got a special place in my heart for metal.
Yeah.
And there are certain bands I definitely listen to, and especially for the instruments. But I'd say I listen to country a lot more.
Why do you think that these acts that you schedule with choose to play at WeFest? Because obviously they have a choice. They don't have to say yes, but they do, because why?
Money helps, certainly.
Always, yes.
And then the experience, like the hospitality, how nice your dressing rooms. Can they come there and just kind of relax a little bit before their show that night? We're very lucky in Detroit Lakes that we're surrounded by a million lakes, and so some of our bands, including one of our acts this year, like to take out a pontoon. They go out on the pontoon and maybe even wear the shirt from their favorite restaurant that they visited that day up on stage. Yep. So, or there's a golf course next to us. So I think WeFest for artists, it's like a very as comfortable as it gets, right? And we just try to treat them with a lot of respect, and kind of make it a nice experience.
I remember a couple years ago, Carly Pierce was at WeFest, and I remember she talked about how she had a sunburn from being out on the lake like that week. I think she was like hanging out in that area. And so I think that you're right. And then this year I saw one of the artists pull up in an SUV before the show, and the whole crew came out, the whole band, and they were all in their golf gear because they had just gone golfing. So you're right. And it's cool. Like, I think you're right. They just feel very comfortable and at home. That totally makes sense. Yeah. What do you think are your goals with WeFest moving forward?
To be here another 40 years. We want to, like I said, looking at the long-term view here. And, we just want to keep building on what we have. So, we just keep putting money back into the site, keep investing in the site. We're trying to do kind of constant programming from the second the gates open to when they close, pure entertainment, right? So there's, I think, especially a lot of country festivals in the past, they're the main stage acts, but then kind of this big gap in the day. And so we're trying to fill that and, have all these different activities and stages going. We've built such a nice community there, and where we are, Detroit Lakes, I think people will just love. It's kind of the summer hub to begin with. And so, we want to keep building on that, and bring in, you saw it with the lineup this year. We're trying new things. We're trying to bring in a younger audience, kind of a new audience, but at the same time, really paying respect to people who have been there for a long time and love the prime acts, and are there at 2:00, and are there at 4:00. And we did that this year, between Gretchen Wilson and Sammy Kershaw and Rodney Atkins. I mean, not a lot of festivals have Gretchen Wilson at 4 p.m., but if you're going to be there at 4, we're going to show you a good time. So, it's just building off that, and hopefully we're around for a long time.
I know that you've already announced Lainey Wilson for 2026, and I am so excited. I'm such a big Lainey fan, but is there anything else that you can tell us about the 2026 lineup?
Well, I can tell you we went big.
Okay.
And everyone will find out on the 22nd of September.
On the 22nd? Okay, that's not even that far away.
Yeah.
Okay, I am going to circle that on my calendar and basically count down the minutes because I cannot wait.
Good,
You guys
good.
always go big, and you already went big with Lainey, so I can't imagine what the other 2 nights are going to bring.
Be fun.
Well, Matt, thank you so much. It was so nice to chat with you. I'm excited. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye, Matt.